Hello, my name is Lizeth Jauregui, and today we're going to be looking at Annalisa Castellanos' cognitive development from specifically looking at the infancy stage. So, the infancy stage happens from birth to the age of 2. And when Annalisa was 12 months old, she developed something called object permanence. And object permanence is the knowledge that an object continues to exist even though the infant, in this case Annalisa, cannot see it, cannot hear it, cannot perceive the object. She still knows that it's there. They still know that it's there, that it exists, but they just cannot see it. They can't hear it. They can't perceive it. And this occurred during a game of peekaboo. So Samuel and Annalisa were playing peekaboo, and when Samuel went to cover his face with his hands, Annalisa started poking at his hands, indicating that even though she could not see Samuel's face, she knew that Samuel was right there and that his hands were covering his face, and that would be object permanence. And object permanence is also presented in Piaget's sensory motor stages of cognitive development, which occurs from birth to the age of 2. Now, according to Piaget, Annalisa was in the sensory motor stage of cognitive development, which means that Annalisa would be using her senses to discover and kind of investigate the world around her. So there are 6 substages to Piaget's sensory motor stage of cognitive development. The first one would be reflexive schemes, which occur from birth to 1 month. Then there would be the primary circular reactions, which occur from 1 to 4 months. Then the secondary circular reactions, which occur from 4 to 8 months. Then the coordination of secondary circular reactions, which occur from 8 to 12 months. Then the tertiary circular reactions, which occur from 12 to 18 months. And lastly, the mental representations, which occur from 18 months to 2 years. And in the presentation, we have a little chart with all of Piaget's sensory motor substages, just kind of giving more information about what what we can find in the substages between what ages. So by the time that Annalisa had discovered or had developed object permanence, she was in Piaget's substage of coordination of secondary circular reactions, which occurs in infancy from 8 to 12 months of age. So Piaget indicated that infants were now able to anticipate events and that they could understand that objects could be present without them necessarily seeing them. So a limitation that Annalisa could have faced in this stage of her life would be that she didn't have or she could not adapt quickly she could not adapt quickly enough to imitate novel behaviors. So that's a limitation that infants, in this case Annalisa, excuse me, that Annalisa would be seeing in this stage, in her infancy stage of cognitive development. Then we go into when Annalisa was we go back because we're seeing when Annalisa was 2 to 4 months old and when she starts cooing, and 6 to 7 months old when she starts babbling, and she's babbling little phrases or sounds that are la 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 or na 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 na. So that's already something else that we could add into her cognitive development, because this is something that she's doing and that she wasn't able to do before, especially now that she's getting ready to talk. So a little after Annalisa had turned 1 year, after she turned 1, she said her first word, which was mama, and is the Spanish word for mom. Then Samuel noticed that during the stage, Annalisa's cognitive development, in her stage of cognitive development, she started using an overextension of words. And an overextension of words is when the infants, in this case Annalisa, would use one word to refer to multiple objects or multiple things. So they would just use one word for a variety of things. So we have in the PowerPoint this little picture of like this little boy and a cow, and we know that it's a cow, but the little boy says dog, I believe it says on there. So the boy is just using what he knows, his knowledge of what a dog is, and he says it's an animal and it walks on 4 legs and it has a tail, and he's assuming that the cow is a dog because he's going based off what he knows, and that's an overextension because we know that a cow isn't a dog. So one example of Annalisa's overextension would be that when Samuel, Lucia, and Annalisa would go out to eat, they would usually go to In-N-Out. And Annalisa at this time would call In-N-Out Mean Out. And so she just started calling every fast food chain, more specifically like McDonald's or like Carl's Jr. or like places that they would go out to eat that would serve similar food. Instead of just calling them like names, she would refer to all of them as Mean Out. So she would call all of the fast food chains In-N-Out, even though it was a McDonald's or it was a Carl's Jr. or Jack in the Box, she would just refer to them as Mean Out, and that would be an overextension of words. Um, Lastly, when Annalisa was 17 months old, we also saw her start using two-word utterances. And the two examples that I added on here were that Annalisa would say mama leche, which would be in English mom milk. And then another one was mi vaso, which is my cup. So those are just two-word utterances that Annalisa would say when she was 17 months old in her cognitive development in the infancy stage. And that's all we have for the cognitive development for the infancy stage. Thank you so much.